and one of the largest mental hospitals in the country was at Hellingly at one time, and not very much of it left now, as we shall find out. We're just going to go down, take a walk onto the Cuckoo Trail. It says welcome to the Cuckoo Trail, and you're welcome to it too, mate. Mind the stinging nettles. Now, here we go. Watch out for the steam trains. And I'm going to stand up here because as you can see, this is a small surviving part of Hellingly station platform. The line finally closed in 1971, although passenger services had finished to Howsham, I think, a couple of years before that. Well, so many dates running around my head. I got the right dates, but not the right railway. The Beecham Report closed the line to passenger services north of Howsham in 1965. However, freight clung on, and so did the passenger service from Polegate to Howsham until 1968, when everything finally shut down and the line closed for good. Can you imagine getting on a steam train, going up through there? It's been a very pretty line to travel. Anyway, we will take a walk down here. Sadly, the overgrowth is such that can't really see much of the old station, but oh yes, you can see the canopy there, and I have to say it does look as though some work has been done, which is very, very nice to see. Excuse me. It's not as dilapidated as I thought it might be. There's the platform still. So maybe there's good things in store for the station building. However, I don't know how far I'm going to go down here. That bit there is probably the old toilets. Now, in the middle here, until the 1930s, was a wooden platform, because Hellingly Hospital had its own tramway and only used one truck, and it carried passengers until 1931. Had a little passenger carrying van, and it used to come out from Hellingly Hospital into the exchange sidings here. It was a little electric, like a steeple cab overhead electric loco. The passenger carrying car was a separate self-propelled tram, I think, if my memory serves me correctly. And this is where the wooden platform would have been, right in front of me there. But the unusual thing is, they had to more or less go south of the station and then, if you like, reverse out and go back the other way, round the corner, round the curve, and the railway was well over a mile long, and it went right into the hospital grounds. That's all fenced off now, but you can imagine if you follow, you see that fence in there, if you follow that round, I think you'll find you're looking at roughly the curvature where the hospital tramway used to go. As I say, it finally closed when the last lot of coal was delivered by train. Here we are, in 1959. So I'm actually now standing where the hospital tramway would have made its way, and I'm now going to take a look and see where it went. What I like about this is this information boards up. Or am I a bit, maybe I was a bit premature, I don't know. Anyway, that was where it went. Let's just take a walk down here and have a look. Have a look, see what this says. Ah yes, here we are. The Hellingly, well, they call it the Hellingly Asylum Railway. So there we are, the replica white gate between the original post in front of you. Well, that's all right up to a point. But where are these gates? Where are these gates? I wonder. I couldn't see any unless they're in here. Ah, what have we got? Well, I don't see any white gates, but here we are. These are replicas. Yes. And if you look at the angle, you can see where, as I said, it curved away round there, although this fence now just cuts it off completely. But it came in here, down to a siding, and then they would shunt up towards the station, do their loading and then go. But I see here, once again, housing, and lots of it. Oh well. But if I hadn't have walked through here, I wouldn't have been able to see what that sign was talking about. But yeah, standing on the track bed of the old tramway, and you can see by the curvature here how it would have gone. And as I say, these trees have gone up and the fences have gone up, and you'd never know it now, would you? But of course, if you know, you know. What I like about this is there are lots of little places you can, little picnic tables and things that you can just set back off the trail and enjoy. But, there's also a lot of what I call unofficial footpaths, and it does make you wonder what goes on there. There's another part of the original platform without the modern trimmings that you've got at the other end. This is how it would have looked. It's quite a miracle really that so much of it survives. But I can certainly understand why the people living in the station would want all these trees and all this growth, because to be fair, they are entitled to their privacy. Oh yes, you can definitely see that there's been some work done there. Very nice. Well, blackberry season soon, I hate to say it, but the blossom's out. There we are, there's another look at the platform before we go. There is a legend told of the cuckoo line of a driver called Rex Niner, going back to the days when little steam locos would haul coaches that had what they call running boards, the length of the carriages, like a little board that ran along underneath all the doors. And according to the legend, late evenings, dark evenings, some of these carriages were compartments. And he would say to his fireman, "Keep an eye on it, lad, I'll be back shortly." And he would go take a walk, because the trains never went that fast. He would take a walk along the running boards, by all accounts, keeping very low. And he would be looking for couples doing a strange dance known as the horizontal boogaloo. And he would detect this and he would stand up and look in the window. I don't think I'll say any more, but I wonder how many people were rudely interrupted in their enjoyment, shall we say. I'm told that's a true story. I can believe it, but you just never know, do you? Slightly rude, maybe, but funny nonetheless. Oh, I wonder what these were. Those are shells, aren't they? Military shells. Yeah. Anyhow, there you are. We've had a look at the cuckoo trail. You used to be able to see quite clearly where the track of the old tramway came round here, round the back of the nursery. But it used to curve round behind where that modern fence was that I said was up there before, and come along, and I think where that gate is over there, that's where it used to come round. It crossed the road here and then took a sharp left-hand curve and cut across New Road onto an embankment. And then when they decided that Hellingly didn't have enough houses in it and plonked another several thousand, they blocked off New Road here. This was a crossroads. And all you've got left of New Road now is this truncated bit. And I don't think there's any sign left of where the railway went across the road even. You used to be able to see it quite clearly.
it came across, I think, about here somewhere. And if you look along that, I don't know whether that's human or animal made path, you'll see it rises slightly, and you go up onto that embankment, and I think you'll find that's where the hospital tramway used to go up. For many years I think the engine shed survived at the hospital, and one of the poles that used to carry the overhead wire, but all gone now. And the whole of the hospital area now, apart from one or two buildings that are relatively modern, but they're now a secure unit, all of the old buildings are gone, and there is a modern housing estate there now called Roebuck Park. But I'm going to drive down there and at least show you roughly where the tramway ended. Listen to that noise. All the wood pigeons. Unfortunately, no sunrise to see at the moment. The mist is still lifting. It's got to burn off yet. But just nice listening to the birds. That is the modern Hellingly Community Hub, and where I'm sat now in the car is actually on the track bed of the old tramway, which now made a curve to the right. There were 2 or 3 sidings, and it ended where the old boiler house was, and on the other side there was a little platform for while they did the passenger service. There is nothing there now really. I'll go around the corner and show you roughly where it finished. It's probably easier for me to do this on foot, as this is as we come to this far end. This is what remains of the old Hellingly Hospital. Part of the new secure units are down there, and I think by the looks of it this must have been the old chapel. How very sad to see windows broken and a place of worship just left. Must have been a grand building in its time, because the hospital had its own farm as well, where the inpatients would work. I say there's a secure unit now and 1 or 2 others. And looking, I'm not going to walk down there because there's people about now. Looking down in amongst there is roughly where I think the old boiler house to one of the buildings was, and that is where the Hellingly Hospital tramway delivered its load to. Interesting little piece of local history, and quite unique. Well, here we are in the middle of nowhere. We have been exploring the extended parish of Hellingly, and I've talked about the Cuckoo Trail. And here, at one time, I don't know whether it would have been an overbridge or a level crossing. My gut instinct the way it goes up here and look at the height of that would be to maybe say it went across on a bridge. I would need to consult things very carefully on that, because there's no signs of bridge abutments or anything. But unless they've actually raised the level of the line dramatically, I don't see that there was a level crossing here. Anyway, we are now back in the core village of Hellingly, because I want to show you the mill. Now, there are two rivers that actually flow through the village, the Bull River and the Cuckmere. And the Cuckmere was split into two here, and one part of it served the mill race, because Hellingly, in common with many other villages, as you get further away from Eastbourne up to the Wealden Ridges, played a major part in the iron industry. And would you believe, somebody is trying to park a car behind mine, presumably because they'd come to walk a dog. There's other places to park. They don't have to park right in behind me. And you can hear the noise of water running the closer I get. Yes, as I say, there was a mill here, and all in connection with the old Wealden iron industry. And this is the old water mill. Parts of it date back to 1255, preserved as a building of historical and architectural interest. And there you are. I don't think the wheel has turned for many years, but it's preserved, and this is part of the River Cuckmere. Brook Cottage has an age to it. Anyway, my time allotted for this morning is beginning to run out, and there the river flows onwards on its journey towards the sea. I have one more place to film, so let's make a move. Now, this is going to sound rather daft, but I'm looking at the floodplain between the Bull River on the left over there and the Cuckmere over there on the right where the line of trees is. Behind it, and in there, unfortunately I can't get a better view of it from here, is the derelict Horsebridge flour mill. It's been allowed to decay for donkey's years. It would have been a suitable candidate, I think, for restoration, at least as flats, but I fear time has now passed by far too long. And one of the reasons why I stopped here is Mr. Sun is just beginning to burn through those clouds there, and so I have at least managed to get you a sunrise of sorts. I'm a bit disappointed. They took away the road signs here. Because they used to say London Road, Hellingly. And yet, strictly speaking, I'm not in Hellingly itself. I'm in Horsebridge. And I'm looking towards the mill. And it's up R6 on a Sunday morning. You wouldn't think it standing here. You can see some of the old hoist equipment up there. Just left to rack and ruin, as indeed seems to have been this house here on the corner. For many years, and I remember driving buses past here, they used to grow vines in that greenhouse. But that is the entrance to the old Horsebridge mill. I don't know if I can get any closer. We'll take a look. That, excuse me, is indeed a very sad sight. Very sad indeed. Once a thriving industrial site within a countryside setting, now left to rack and ruin, although it's obviously home to jackdaws and pigeons and all sorts of stuff. Will it ever get developed? To be honest, I think the odds are against it now. But structurally, outside, it doesn't look too bad. There may be some hope, but you're talking millions, aren't you? And, millions is what not many people have these days. Oh look, I've got to say this. There's an Amazon parcel there. This is the standard you get now from delivery people. It's dumped on the doorstep. Now, if it's meant for collection, fair enough. But the general thing is nowadays, they come, they put it on the doorstep, they might ring or knock if you're lucky. They take a photograph and say it's delivered. Now, as far as I'm concerned, a parcel left on the doorstep is not delivered. It's not delivered until they took their photograph showing the door open or showing the recipient holding the parcel. That is delivered. Until then, it's left on a doorstep. And as far as I'm concerned, very sadly, the people that sent the parcel, if it goes missing, have to pay me back and claim it off the courier, which I understand is not always an easy task. But there you go. I had to get a little moan in, didn't I? Anyway, looking towards Hailsham and home, it's R6 on this particular Sunday morning now. I hope you've enjoyed this walk around the parish of Hellingly, and yeah, what if I just turned off the A267? Well, I did, and look what I found. So hopefully see you on the next one.